The United States houses almost a quarter of the world's prison population. However, some of these prisoners never got the chance of a free trial, access to a lawyer, or even a fair sentence at all. Innocent until proven guilty. The statement that echoes through the courtrooms as the judge sits down and the jury of one's peers tells someone that they are about to spend the rest of their life in jail.
The United States now has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. We have 7 million people on probation and parole, and mass incarceration, in my judgment, has fundamentally changed our world. In poor communities and communities of color, there is this despair, there is this hopelessness that is being shaped by these outcomes. 1 out of 3 black men between the ages of 18 and 30 is in jail, in prison, on probation, or parole.
When Joe Sullivan was 13 years old, he was convicted of sexual battery by a Florida state court and sentenced to life in prison without parole.
That the kids who end up with these sentences are the poor kids. They're the kids who don't get the kind of assistance that they need. Joe Sullivan had a lawyer that never even filed a single appeal or never filed a single brief, and it's because these kids are poor and disabled. All of the children serving life without parole in this country for crimes at 13 and 14 are African American.
Joe is one of the only 2 13-year-olds in the country sentenced to die in prison for a non-homicide offense. Nationwide, there are only 9 people sentenced to life without parole for crimes at age 13, and only 73 for crimes at 13 or 14 years old.
When you first get in there, all you see is the walls and just make myself cry.
The death penalty, even with its extremities, is subject to a plethora of errors. It has been identified that for every 9 people who have been executed, there has been 1 innocent person who has been exonerated and released from death row.
We've seen. And EJI is a private nonprofit. We don't charge any of our clients money. We represent everybody for free. We rely on donations. We have started doing a lot of narrative work. We opened a museum called the Legacy Museum in Montgomery, and we now have the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, which is dedicated to thousands of victims of lynching and racial violence. And I really do believe our nation needs an era of truth and justice, and EJI is trying to lead in that area.
With movements like these present in today's societies, lawyers, law firms, and even countries as a whole, we have taken steps to alleviate the problems in today's society and move one step closer to a world with free trials, access to legal aid, and fair sentences. But everyone can be a part of the change, be the voice for those in need. Telling other people about these innocent death row inmates who are being sentenced to death for crimes they didn't commit, or even being updated on the current world events, just so they are able to raise awareness. It is just those small acts that can lower the 19,336 people on death row, the 95,000 children sitting in adult jail cells, and the 10.35 million people sitting behind bars. Awareness and protests are just the first steps to shed light on these issues, but these needs need to be met with doctrinal change and a much fairer justice system. Be the voice for those in need to help rebuild our justice system.